Hey everyone, happy Thursday. It is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So let me start off with this one since the camera is already pointed at it. So this has been absent for a while because this was happening. So my very talented upholstery guy was hand making upholstery for this car, and I could not possibly be happier with how it came out. Obviously, we'll be replacing the steering wheel because it looks terrible. Anyway, yeah, so he went and upholstered everything. We discussed it with the owner and, talked about a few details. But other than that, yeah, he pretty much replicated what was there, except, obviously what was there was gross and faded and just overall nasty, and took it to the next level as far as making it really, really nice. We did some things like added 356 style pockets on the bottoms of the doors, which run full length and kind of have this little swoop shape to them. Went ahead and we talked about just deleting the back seat, but apparently Speedsters did actually have a back seat, but no backrest. I don't know what good that was supposed to do, and there's no way anyone could sit back there. Maybe sideways, a very small person. Anyway, that's a whole other story. But yeah, so let's take a look here. Brand new carpet, all handmade carpet kit. I can't even really call it a kit. Handmade carpet set. And he just went and did it up really, really nice, all up underneath here. So the carpet that was in here was nothing like this, and it was tore, and it was covered in dog hair. And we pretty much he pretty much went and did, I guess, what I'd call like wall-to-wall carpeting here, as far as covering every surface really nice. And then the vinyl, so we stuck with red, which is what the car had when it came in, and pretty much just redid everything in red. Made some little stylistic changes. For example, the seats had piping on them. We deleted that to just kind of like show off the stitching a little bit more. And spent quite a bit of time on the shape and the padding in these to get them to feel really good and look really good. And went ahead and carpeted the backs of the seats up real nice too. I think the backs of the seats had, I don't even remember what they had. They might have had like vinyl on them or something. Anyway, they just look terrible all around. So, yeah, there you go. I got to get some escutcheons and put on the inner door handles. Obviously, there's no window handles, so that's pretty much just it, the door handle. Also went ahead and had them make, which weren't there, boots for the shifter and the e-brake lever, and those are actually held on with Velcro at the base, so if we need to adjust the shifter or adjust the e-brake, you can kind of peel up the bottoms of those. But when you don't want to do that, they'll stay firmly in place there. So nice little touch. So I guess that's it. Very, very happy with how this came out. Now, the next thing for this car, so we're still waiting on wheels. We did decide to go with the Mobile Wagon 356 style wheels in 5.5 inches, which I think is wider than what's on here, and I believe the offset is also more favorable. They're on back order. Hopefully those will be in like maybe a week, and then once those are in and I get them fit up with tires, then I will determine how much spacers I need to really push them out to fill out these fender wells instead of kind of hiding way in there like these are. And then we're going to kind of, I don't know, quick and dirty isn't really the right term, but we're going to raise the front end with just some coilover front shocks that they make for these cars. It's not really the right way to do it, but again, the owner is trying to kind of keep this budget friendly and concentrate on like bang for the buck. So the interior was, a no-brainer because it was so bad it was dragging the whole car down. I think we're going to buff the outside best we can, and again, get rid of a bunch of these scuffs and stuff that I think will come out. This checking on the hood won't really come out, but overall, yeah, we can get it looking a lot better. And then the wheels and tires, adjusting the stance a little bit, and then I think that's pretty much it. We'll send him on his way, and he should be able to have fun, enjoy this thing, and look pretty awesome doing it. So anyway, yeah, this came back this afternoon, and then I actually installed the seats, which, by the way, is a pain in the butt on these because they bolt in, and it's really hard to get at because the seats sit very low to the floor. But they're in. So other than that, if you caught a glimpse of this earlier, the motor in the green 62 came out this morning. I had it almost pulled out yesterday and pulled the last two pieces of hardware that were holding it in this morning. And I guess because this is a 62 and therefore a 40 horse engine compartment, and this motor is a 1600 dual port, it was actually really hard to get out, harder than I would have thought with a car that came with a 40 horse. But yeah, I had to end up pulling the valve covers on both sides, and I should have pulled the exhaust before I took it out, but generally speaking, you can leave it on. But I don't know, maybe it's just this particular exhaust, the way it's made. It was kind of hitting everywhere. So I got the motor out more or less intact, minus the manifolds and carburetors, of course. But yeah, it was kind of a pain in the ass to get out. So when it goes back in, I'll probably put it back in the car, more or less like a long block, and then assemble it in the car just to kind of make my life easier once I manage to hunt down all the chrome and stuff that he wants for it. And we're going to paint the engine case. By the way, the color of this car, the owner said, is I think it's called Synergy Green. It's actually a Chevy Camaro color. So the good news is we can get this paint mixed up, no problem, and then use that for the engine or any touch-up that the car needs. So it'd be good to have some of that on hand for this project. But yeah, so other than removing the motor and pretty much dismantling it to a long block, I spent a long time cleaning this motor. This thing was disgusting, and I probably still wouldn't want to eat off it, but believe it or not, this is the very, very clean version compared to how it was when it came out of the car. I mean, the whole bottom here was just like solid dirt and rust, or dirt and oily gunk. But again, I need to go and degrease it really well because we're going to paint it. And so if the paint is going to have any chance of sticking, we've got to be pretty much down to bare metal as far as that's concerned. The other thing I noticed on this car is that the oil and dirt was primarily on this side of the motor. And what I saw were a lot of signs that something in the oil cooler, either oil cooler to adapter or adapter to case, or both, were leaking. And so needless to say, I'm going to pull off his oil cooler. I will pressure test it, and then when I get around to reinstalling it, obviously new seals and all that stuff. So I think fixing that, or this oil leak, is going to help the motor a lot as far as like not getting as gross as it was, because this side of the motor was much better. So at least I found one source of oil leak so far, and primarily on the 3/4 side. So we shall see. The other thing I sort of started doing today on this car was I went and I got a wiring harness for it, stock wiring harness. And I got a proper ignition switch, which he didn't have, got a headlight switch, which he didn't have, and got a fuse box, which he also didn't have. The other thing he doesn't have is a speedometer. And I know this car is very custom and all, and probably should, in theory, have a custom speedometer, but I'm kind of inclined to put a stock one in. I don't know. I need to discuss that with the owner. I've used Speed Hut speedometers before, and you can have them customized to your heart's content. And they are GPS-based speedometers, and they look cool, and you can do lots of things with the design on the face and so on. But I don't know. We'll see. I got to go over that with the owner. But needless to say, when I start wiring it, I'm going to need the speedometer pretty quick, because a lot of stuff under the in the wiring obviously connects to the speedo. So I think that's it, guys. Kind of a quiet day here. Jacob was out, Rafa's out, of course, and so yeah, I just put my head down and worked on this one, and then moved over to this to the Speedster later and put the seats in, and that was my day. So appreciate you guys watching, and we will see you again tomorrow.